Guys, I'm being so serious. The next man that enters my life, he is required to take me out on 3 dates before he gets a sleepover and before he gets my clothes off. Okay, I'm being so for real right now because here's the thing. As soon as you spend the night with a man, not even doing anything, they stop asking you out on dates. Then, once you sleep with them, they don't want anything to do with you anymore, which, like, whatever. I'm tired of men sexualizing me and objectifying me. Yeah, I've made it very easy for them to do that in the past, but, like, I'm done. I'm seriously done.
Modern women think that if they withhold bedroom fun from men, that's somehow going to force them to commit to her. That will never work because either the man will con her into getting her clothes off or will ghost her after the first date. It just won't work.
Like, hookup culture is fun for like 5 minutes. I miss connection. I miss having feelings. I miss being yearned for. I miss yearning. I can't just keep getting obsessed with a man for a week or two and then moving on to the next one. It's too exhausting and it's honestly like mentally draining. So seriously, the next guy that enters my life, he has to take me on 3 dates. Not sleepovers, not hang outside his apartment. He has to take me to in-person public activity date.
This is the end result of hookup culture. It's just an army of broken women who demand emotional connection from the very same men who never gave a crap about her in the first place, and she brought all of it on herself.
Whether it's dinner, whether it's going on a walk, something. I am tired of a man being like, let's go on 1 date, and then you can come over, and you can just come over every time you want to hang out. No. What happened to romance? I want romance! Anyways, celibacy era is going great so far. So good.
She doesn't want romance, she wants a movie fantasy. She wants a man to sweep her off her feet and make her feel madly in love, but that's simply not possible. Her mind has been too warped after hooking up with men. There's no going back from that. If a modern woman is going to act like a garden tool, she can't be surprised when she gets treated like one. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way in, and let's get into it.
Here's what men don't understand about equality. You think equality means splitting the bill. Women live in a society where equality has never existed in the first place. Women still only make 80% of what a man makes for the same full-time job. So when you ask for a 50-50 date, know that her 50% costs more of her income than it does yours. Second of all, women pay more just to exist in the dating world, about $400 a month just on grooming and beauty. And that's not because they want to spend more, it's because they're held to the beauty standards that men built and judged them by.
Men did not set these so-called beauty standards. Most of us never asked these women to take on $400 worth of cosmetics. In fact, I don't know a single man who has ever requested that. That's something they willingly purchase themselves. Then they want to blame us when they're constantly broke.
Not only that, women carry safety risk too. They are 2 to 3 times more likely to experience violence from a date. Men love to talk about equality, but not the part where you have to send your locations to your friends and carry safety weapons in your purse just to go to dinner with you. Here's the irony. Men only remember the word equality when it benefits them financially. Not when it comes to wages, not when it comes to safety, not when it comes to emotional workload, not when it comes to the cost of beauty, not when it comes to the social scrutiny women face on a daily basis, but suddenly you want equality when the bill hits the table.
She's acting like having situational awareness is something that a lot of modern women have. Men have situational awareness as well. That's not a gender problem. Men don't walk around assuming they're going to be safe in every situation. It's just called common sense.
Equality isn't identical treatment. Equality is balanced responsibility. And until society becomes statistically equal, you cannot cherry pick equality only in moments where it allows you to contribute less. So yes, my husband pays all the bills, and yes, I think that's the bare minimum.
There is something deeply poetic about a billionaire Nepo baby using her platform to convince her audience of mostly working class women that working class men who make a median wage of $70,000 a year in the United States should foot the entire bill of the relationship. There are 4 reasons why Becca Bloom is wrong, and the first is that Becca doesn't care about equity or equality.
None of these women care about equality or equity. The only thing they care about is preferential treatment. In their eyes, their wants and desires will always take priority over anybody else's, and that's the whole point of womanism.
The only E Becca cares about is entitlement. The math simply doesn't math. Let me grant to Becca for a second that for every dollar a man makes in the United States, a woman makes 80 cents. This would not justify a 100-0 split skewed towards the man. This would justify a split that is rated to the inequality that's caused by this gender split. Meaning that under the definition of equity, for every dollar of the bill that the man foots, the woman would foot 80 cents.
The funny thing is, even if you tell a womanist about this kind of equality, she'll just respond by saying that she's entitled to free things because of events that happened over 100 years ago or crime statistics that are taken out of context.
Now, reason number 3 has to do with statistics. The reason why it's reason number 3 and not number 1, even though it's the most important reason to consider, is because statistical literacy is dying. Most people who have this conversation on the gender wage gap, Becca Bloom included, have no idea what the difference between correlation and causation is. And this is despite the fact that if you take an introductory level statistics class in high school or in college, the first thing you'll learn is this core distinction. Just because for every dollar a man makes, a woman makes 80 cents, doesn't mean that gender specifically is the reason why that 20-cent schism exists. Which is why when you control for external variables like occupation, years of experience, years of education, you see this gap drastically reduce. In one study, it was from 17 cents to just 1.
Womanism boils down everything into something that makes no sense. It breeds ignorance in some cases and outright stupidity in most. That's why when they see a statistic, they will immediately assume the most evil thing imaginable because it magically makes them quote-unquote right.
As a quick aside, this logic of raw, uncontrolled disparities being an example of discrimination is only ever used with respect to the gender wage gap. But when you talk about the fact that home ownership is now higher among young women than young men, or the fact that women are now outpacing men in education from bachelor's degrees to JDs to MDs, all of a sudden, that's no longer discrimination. That's just individual people.
That's not entirely accurate. Modern women love to flex on dudes because of home ownership and education. They say their education and property ownership makes them better than men, and they never pass up an opportunity to rub it in men's faces, by the way.
I mentioned it in a previous video and I'll mention it again. The cognitive dissonance is palpable. And even then, gender is not necessarily the reason why this 1 cent difference exists. It could be for a myriad of other factors that weren't controlled. At the end of the day, people are responsible for their own decisions, which is why if you go into a profession like teaching, which pays less, you're doing so knowing that it pays you less. In the same vein that a man going into a profession like construction knows that this is a more dangerous job and therefore there's a higher risk to their life in doing so.
A womanist will respond to that by saying that construction work is inherently bigoted because there aren't a lot of female construction workers, so therefore that whole argument is completely pointless. There's no reasoning with women like that.
Which is why, despite the fact that men go into more dangerous professions more often, you don't hear myself or other men scream from the rooftops that this is some magical reason for us to be compensated more in relationships. Which brings me to point number 4. Becca's entire argument relies on this false premise that individual people in relationships are responsible for remediating issues that exist at systemic and societal levels. A relationship is not a personal affirmative action plan. It's a partnership, and individual people's struggles are not always defined by generalities that exist in society.
It's rather messed up to see how modern women insist on turning relationships into political and societal problems, and they have used it as an excuse to justify their reasoning as to why they shouldn't have to provide anything in a relationship at all.
And frankly, just putting these 4 arguments aside for a second, I want you to take Becca Bloom's worldview to its endpoint. A world where only the men who are capable of sustaining a family on a single income is not a world that can exist any longer, right? The dollar doesn't go as far as it used to 50 years ago, 20 years ago. It's simply not possible anymore. The reason why people like Becca Bloom, Share 7, The Wizard List, the reason why they push this provider mentality, masculine energy onto young women is because they know that their idea is a systemic impossibility. They fundamentally profit off of having a base of women who are dissatisfied with the relationships that they have.
It's all about telling modern women what they want to hear. Modern women want to believe that they are victims and that their terrible attitudes are completely justified because they're victims over something, so therefore nothing is ever their fault.
Which is why they constantly shift the goalposts of what it means for a man to be the bare minimum. And it's even more sinister when it comes to people like Becca Bloom who are literal oligarchs because they directly benefit from the idea of having fragmented family units who are unable to have productive lives for themselves and retain capital for their own prosperity.
It's not surprising that she's an oligarch. She has absolutely nothing to lose when she keeps parroting the narrative that women deserve free things simply because they're women. It really does scream, F you, I got mine.
Not guilty. All charges have been dropped. James, man to man, I'm sorry you had to go through this and that your personal and professional lives have been ruined as a result of her false allegations. And as for you, no, bad. That's very bad. Don't do that again, okay? Okay. Alright, case dismissed. Wait. Yes? Bad? Yes, what she did was bad. Very bad, and she won't do it again, right? Right. What she did should be a felony. Why is she not being punished?
It's rather disturbing how close to real life this skit is when it comes to false accusations, because even when the guy is exonerated from all charges and he proves that the claims were false, he'll still be forced to carry the stigma of the crime that he didn't even commit in the first place.
Did you not just hear me tell her no?
That's not punishment. I want her to be punished.
Do you want me to say it again?
No, she should suffer like I've suffered. Her lives have caused me to lose my job, my family, my house. The whole world now sees me as a woman.
It's not true. We just found you
It
innocent.
doesn't matter what the court ruled. The damage has already been done. Even though I never once lifted my finger at a woman, the whole world will forever see me as a monster.
No, they won't.
Yes, they will.
No, they won't.
She deserves to be punished more than just a slap on the wrist.
I bet you like that, wouldn't you, woman?
See?
The sad part of all of this is how there will be nothing done to force accountability on women who falsely accuse men. They are going to continue to get away with this crap because of this bonkers idea that all women are innocent for some reason that just makes no sense. But anyway, guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out. Click this video that's up on the screen now if you want to see more. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.